Welcome back to Rev Endurance Sports, and today we're going to talk about the post service on a giant, what's this called? Revolt?
It's a Revolt.
A Revolt. And I've got the customer with me, and it sounds so impersonal. I've got my friend with me who I did the service on. So let's switch cameras or camera angles. Hello, Nicholas.
Hi.
Hi. So we're going to talk about this giant Revolt and all the things that we did to it. So Nicholas needed some work done on his bike, and I love this. Let me cover up your last name here. So he brings me what in the Marine Corps we used to call a punch list when we used to work on airplanes. And it's basically the gripes that, the plane came back and it needed some work. So let's go through the list and let's talk about what we did or what we found and then what we did. The first thing is, good, it's on the drive side. So the first thing on the list is that the rear rim took a significant impact. So we're going to try to zoom in a little bit here, and hopefully we don't lose quality of the picture. And so the rim took a good impact, and I checked the inside. It was fine. I mean, there was a little bit of tear on the rim strip, so we had to redo the rim strip and then install the tire. And I let it sit for several days, and it seems to be just fine. It's been holding air. The first the first maybe 20 minutes, half hour, it did leak out some air, but I'm not concerned because now it's been multiple days and it's fine. Funny thing is, your front tire had been holding air. I think the bike's been here about a week, and it had been holding air. I took it for a test ride, everything else, and then eventually it did. It was flat, so I just put some more sealant in there, so it should be fine.
That's got a few patches on it and all kinds of stuff anyway.
It's got
a
few plugs.
Yeah.
So that was the first thing on your list. The second thing on your list was the front brake alignment. Now, these bolts on SRAM, and it's one of the things that just kind of bugs me, the head isn't all that great, and they almost always strip out. Hopefully that focuses. So right now, both of these bolts are stripped. So I had to buy some special drill bits for hard metal, which is a stainless steel, and then of course my Easy Out kit. And some of you have probably have seen the video of when the through axle was stuck on a different bike, and that broke my Easy Out tool. So we're going to leave that for another time because he's actually going on vacation. And he's missing his bike, so I want to get him back on the bike, right?
Oh, totally.
Yeah, I actually asked him this morning, hey, do you really want me to work on that front brake thing? Or, because everything else is done. He's like, no, I missed my bike. Get it back to me. So yeah, he's going on vacation. We'll deal with it then. So then the shifting. Delays, double shifts, ghost shifts, whatever. So on this one, his chain was worn. So we replaced the chain. Cassette had never been replaced. How long have you had this bike?
2020?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah, so the cassette had never been replaced. It was, in some gears, it was just hanging up. It just wasn't shifting. So replaced the cassette, replaced the chain. Oh, and by the way, your rear derailleur was loose.
Ooh.
Like, seriously, I was able to get like 1.5 turns of my wrench on it.
Oh, well, there's another thing.
Yeah, so, and the thing is with shifting, and especially, a 12-speed system or whatever, you've got 11 gears here, but a 12-speed uses pretty much the same space. So just everything has to be perfect. Your derailleur hanger has to be perfect. You know, you can't have your rear derailleur loose. You know, the hangers now, I think you were looking at a rodeo, what are they called?
Yeah, Rodeo Labs.
Rodeo Labs, yeah. So I'm sure that's going to be UDH compatible
Yep.
now.
Yep.
It is?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So, you know, they say that those are a lot stronger. So, yeah, so if you bend your hanger or if your rear derailleur is loose or whatever, your chain's worn and your cassette's worn, you're just not going to have good shifting, right? So, but then still wasn't shifting all that great. So I replaced the cable. And you know, you have to unwrap the bar tape, rewrap, go through internally routed, which is a nightmare. So, you know, goes in through here and it comes out a tiny little hole. Could you lift up the back end for me, sir? And it comes out this little hole here. And then it has to go through the chainstay and come out this little hole here. So, yeah, just a real pain. And yeah, it's a it's not all that fun, sir. But
That's why you make the big bucks.
yeah, well, you know, and the crazy thing is, Nicholas, I can't ever charge you exactly how long something takes me, right? So that's also a problem with being a bike mechanic. So I appreciate that you think I make the big bucks. So I love that. Thank you. So we did replace the rear brake pads. They were worn, and I'm guessing you do a lot of skidding and sliding when you're on some steep
Downhill, yeah.
gravel and stuff.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. So that makes sense. You know, loose terrain and stuff like that, that's a more rear brake application. For the road, I really want to see people wearing out front brake pads first. So just a different application because the pavement is obviously secure, or your front wheel is secure. So, but in mountain bike and gravel usage, I almost always see rear brake pads worn first, which is a good thing. Also, your bottom bracket. Yeah, so your bottom bracket, if you put your fingers inside here like this and then kind of turn it, you feel that?
Yep.
Yeah, and then the other side, do it as well. Yeah. You feel that grittiness?
Yep.
Yeah. So what ends up happening is sometimes the fill rate, so there's lube or grease that's been put in there from the factory, and then over time, you know, just like the oil in your car, the oil just breaks down, the grease or lube breaks down over time. And then the balls, so make a C with your hand like this. So the balls are sitting inside the bearing race, like this being the bearing race and this being the ball. And then at some point, it just starts rubbing metal against metal, right? So the stainless steel balls will start rubbing against the bearing race, and then that's the grinding you're hearing. The fill rate is gone. In other words, the amount of lube that was in there is gone. So, yeah, so we replaced that. And I like to show people, typically, like this is a BB86 for GXP type cranksets. So if you look at this inside bearing here, it's got a longer bearing race in there. I'm sorry, like this outer compared to, it's really hard to shoot this. Maybe if I get a little more daylight. But you should be able to install this properly. It says right here, non-drive side, but believe it or not, I've seen people not install that properly, and then they can't get the crankset in, and they're wondering why they can't get the crankset in. And the thing is, like with these cranksets, the spindles are they're tapered when it gets to the end of it. So on the crank side, you've got kind of a spline type of situation, and that's how on the non-drive side, you got a spline, and that's how that crankset goes on there. So it's a strange setup.
So you're saying this width is different than this width?
inner diameter, so ID.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, this is bigger than
Yeah.
this. Yeah, I
Yeah.
see what you're saying.
Where the actual metal of the crank spindle goes in. Yeah. So sorry that the camera's having a tough time focusing in on that, but yeah. So I think that covers all of it. As far as I can tell, now of course all bikes here get test ridden. Everything gets an opportunity to be ridden out on the road. Unfortunately, this being a gravel bike, it would take me out of it would take me out of my local area to try to get
Come on,
it
let's
to
go.
ride.
I'm still asking this guy to try and get. He's.
I
You
know
know,
I'm
we gotta
terrible.
go.
I'm terrible
Put
at
your
riding.
wheels on. Let's
I know
go.
I'm terrible at riding my gravel bike. But yeah, Nicholas, we will get out there. I promise. I promise. I promise. Okay, I think that's all. Oh, by the way, yeah, your rear brake pads. Now that I remember, they were so worn that you did bring it in just in time, so there's no damage to the rotor. There's no
Yay.
damage to the rotor, so we're good there. But they
Perfect.
were, if you
It's
recall,
close.
they were really, really worn out. So yeah, that's all for today. Again, this is a post-service video, and I just haven't had enough time to shoot the the intake. But I just shot another one on a Trek Madone, so that'll be something on the channel for you folks to watch on the pre of a video. Anyway, any questions, Nicholas? No?
How'd the shifting end up?
Yeah, right. So the shifting, when I replaced the cable, then finally everything started to
Yeah.
shift better.
Nice.
Replaced the housing as well, so the housing under the handlebar bar tape, and then the housing coming out of the frame. Now, while I complain about internal cable routing, obviously the benefit to that is the cable is not getting contaminated all the time. Unfortunately, it's still kind of a hybrid because there is a bottom bracket guide. So the cable is exposed right there, but everywhere else it's inside the frame. So it should be a lot better. And then I always tell customers as well, yeah, it's going to shift great the first few days, and then maybe it won't because the cable has some settling to do. And so bring it back, and of course I cover that. Yeah, so I know that the shifting was a big concern, but again, like I said, I love you, but I hate your bike. For some reason, it's just SRAM. I don't know why. It just doesn't shift great. I know there's going to be folks out there in YouTube land and be like, oh, I love my SRAM. It's awesome. But hey, from a mechanic standpoint, it just isn't that precise as Shimano is. But anyway, that's just my personal opinion. Oh, by the way, people that ride Ekar, I'm curious what your experiences are. Is it hard to dial in? I've only had a couple come through here, but and one
And I'm
was
Ekar curious.
you're Ekar curious, are you? On your new
for
bike?
sure. Yeah.
13
I'm thinking about
speeds?
it. For sure. Yeah, 13 though, that's even more precision that you need, right? So.
Yeah. More stuff in the middle. What do you remember from your quasi research? What cassettes options they have, or cassette options?
I think the range goes from 9 on the
9.
Yeah, 9.
Wow.
Up to, let's see, 44 on the first gen, and now they came out with the next gen and it's 48 on the top end.
Wow.
But you may not be able to combine the 9 and the 48. I think they probably have a 48 to 10. And there's a few variations. There's also some adjustable chainring stuff too.
Sure, I didn't know they had a 9 cog. I know that E13, like I used to do that for people. They would have a drivetrain, and you could use an E13 cassette that would go down to 9. Yeah, that was kind of cool. Well, I know I got some smart people on this channel, so they'll be like, "Oh yeah, no problem. You can do a 9-something cassette. You could do this chainring, that chainring, blah 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 blah."
I hear they're pretty swappable.
Yeah. So let's close this one off for today. If you folks have some comments or questions or whatever about why we did what we did, just make a comment down below. we'll get an opportunity to talk about that. And for everyone else, thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you up the road. Oh, by the way, look at that. It's February, what, the 4th or 5th? And look how beautiful it is outside. And of course, you saw me in short sleeves. So anyway, please like and subscribe. We'll see you up the road.